Now, don't get me wrong, I love water parks as much as the next guy, and I can't wait to build one in Planet Coaster 2, but is anyone else concerned that that's all we've seen so far? I know we've seen some rides and coasters, but even then, all the theming seems to be solely focused on the nautical and resort themes. We all know that water parks were the #1 requested feature for the sequel, but that doesn't necessarily mean we wanted Planet Water Park, does it? Along with the title of the game, there are some other things that give me hope for the true sequel a lot of us are after. But before we get into the video, don't forget to tell yourself how great you are. Oh, and like the video because I was just nice to you. Now, I don't want to sound like a negative Nancy because I am still incredibly, unbelievably excited for Planet Coaster 2. I just know a large portion of us want to build a good old-fashioned theme park, and I hope we still have the tools to do so. My hope is that the first couple of previews are getting the excitement of water parks out of the way, then we can move on to the core of the game. Flat rides, coasters, shops and facilities. Oh, and paths. My goodness, the paths look great. The first and most important aspect I'm eternally grateful for is generic flat rides and the ability to attach scenery to the moving parts. What this means is ultimate flexibility in customization and theming, allowing for unlimited possibilities. I genuinely can't wait to see what some of you come up with when it comes to ride skins. Speaking of flat rides, can we talk about how you can put them flipping anywhere? Terrain? Sure. Plaza? No probs. Queue already attached? Don't worry, we'll put your path on the path. What? Considering the limitations we had with ride, coaster and path placement in Planet Coaster 1, I'm so glad we've been given the freedom to put whatever we want, wherever we want. And this seems to extend to blueprints too. No more stressing over replicating complicated pathing, it's all part of the blueprint. The placement of this slide and pool combo looked absolutely effortless, and I'm here for it. So with the improvements to flats and their implementation into our parks, it's definitely a huge step in the right direction. Speaking of stepping in the right direction, pathing. My goodness, the pathing. Not only does the basic path tool look miles better, the plaza tools are entirely freeform. I can't believe I'm about to say this, but we might not need to use path cover anymore. You can literally draw the shape of your plaza and it fills it with entirely traversable and customizable pathing. This might seem small to some, but pathing was probably the biggest bugbear, and this new tool is a gargantuan improvement on what we had. I'm positively shaking with excitement. Another interesting topic is of course weather. Frontier have spoken briefly about weather having an impact on your guests, but not gone into any detail on the system itself. All we know is that your guests can burn, so shade will be a consideration and most likely one of the many heat maps. Get it? Heat maps? But what we all want to know is if the rest of the weather system from Zoo has been ported over and how this works with water parks. Typically, water parks are only built in suitable climates. So what does this mean for those of us that want to build a small amusement park in rainy England? Or a snow-covered alpine park somewhere in the Swiss Alps? Perhaps, much like in Zoo, we'll be able to choose the location of our park on a world map, and then the weather can be dependent on the region. They've already confirmed a franchise mode, so this theory certainly seems feasible, so fingers crossed, eh? Something that excites me very much is the suggestion of a park management overhaul. Certain clues like a slower day cycle, more in-depth queue wait times, and finances broken down into days rather than months shows they're allowing us to have a much more in-depth look at park stats and increased control over the operations of our parks. Pair this with potential park opening and closing times, and we're looking at fully simulated theme park management. Wowee. Obviously, I would imagine these features to be toggleable, much like staff management is now, because I'm well aware some people simply enjoy the creative side of this CMS game. Speaking of staff, it's a small detail, but we've had confirmation that ride operators are now treated as normal staff, and thus require breaks. What this means on a grander scale is a vast improvement on ride and coaster management. Our rides not only break down and require maintenance, but now need rostered staff and power, again pushing us further towards that ultimate realism that I'm personally obsessed with. So, time for the big question. If they're really going for realistic ride and coaster management, are we getting transfer tracks? So far, they've avoided the question like I avoid trifle. They're ignoring the question for one of two reasons. They haven't been able to implement it, or they're saving it for the deep dive into coasters, and I certainly hope it's the latter. For those that don't know, coaster transfer tracks come in a few variations, but their primary purpose is to transfer coaster trains on and off the track, whether that be for essential maintenance or to increase or decrease the capacity depending on the requirements of that day. Coaster queue getting busy? Slide another train onto the track. It's not only just an obvious inclusion, it's a fabulous way of adding further management and gameplay mechanics. We asked for water parks, we got them. We asked for better pathing, we got it. We asked for transfer tracks. Let's just hope we get them. I believe in you, Frontier. So those are some things that I've taken from what we've seen so far that give me hope for the true Planet Coaster sequel I desperately want. Right now it seems like they've said, hey look, here's Planet Water Park. Oh yeah, and here's some rides. All I want to know is that if I don't want to build a water park, do I still have all the tools from Planet Coaster 1 brought forward to build a standard theme park in all the themes I'm used to? I hope the next deep dive addresses some of our concerns and takes a slight step away from everything water related. Are you team theme park or team water park? Are you happy with a hybrid? Let me know what you're excited to build when we get the game. I've been Moomin Littlesocks, subscribe to my channel or I'll cry, and I'll catch you next time.